This is the RPM Podcast.
Cars are going fast in a circle.
This heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
See what you did there with the Iowa corn.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 105th episode of the RPM Podcast.
105 already?
Yeah, that's a 1-0 short of Nick Rendo's lucky number. Anyway, Sam Bauer Jr. here at the RPM Podcast. In front of me, as always, on the boards and the great producer of the RPM Podcast, Josh Matthews. Josh, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. I'm sitting across from the world's biggest Maserati fan, which is supposed to be an insult because I thought he was the world's biggest, actually, Ferrari fan.
Yeah.
And I just thought Maserati
Maybe
would
it's
be
just like all Italian things. Maybe.
Oh, that
I don't know.
sucks for you.
Yeah.
Italian sausage, too?
Nah, I don't eat meat, man. I don't eat meat.
What about...
I eat poultry.
You eat... Wait.
Poultry.
Oh, I thought you said upholstery.
Oh, no.
Are you done?
He eats the
Italian
seats
leather.
of Maseratis.
Well, for those who don't know who Josh is referring to, childhood friend Nick Rendo. Nick, how are you, sir?
What's going on, Sam?
I'm doing great.
I haven't seen you in like a week since
Yeah.
the last podcast, which is rare for us.
True.
Yeah.
3 pumps in 7 seconds. Usually hang out for a while.
Some sick nicknames. Tell them about our guest.
Well,
Which one?
We don't have Scott Riggleman in, which is okay because we have his brother Tim. Tim, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me
And-
on again.
Tim, who do we have with us tonight?
We have my racing daughter, one of the twins. We have Alexis here with us tonight.
Alexis, how are you?
Good.
Welcome back. Well, you haven't been on the show before, right? That's Bailey.
Bailey's been on.
Bailey's been on.
It's the hair, I'm telling you.
No, well, I knew that. It's okay. I have brothers too.
And Alexis is rocking
Siblings.
some
Yeah,
sick
did you know that-
gold
that-
kicks
Siblings.
right now.
He's like a twin. He's a quad. He has 3 identical twin brothers.
But in reality, I'm just your
I
normal
met them
suburban
all.
dad.
His brother Nick, not that Nick. He has a brother named Nick who looks like just like him that does security at Wall. Yeah.
She's shook.
Dude, it messes with
She
my.
is shook.
It
wouldn't
messes
wanna
with my
mess
head.
with
I try to run him over every week, and now I don't know which one I'm trying to run over.
Nick was actually our bodyguard at one of the live shows because so many people were like hounding me for an autograph. It was
Can I
crazy.
introduce Cole now?
Yes, you
Okay.
can.
For those who are watching on YouTube and you can't see our beautiful logo here in the RPM Podcast, however, you're about to hear Cole Mullen.
Slaw?
No. Cole won the TQ feature at Wall Stadium, his first ever win. Cole, how are you, sir, tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Are you still living that Cloud9 life from Saturday? Are you settled down, getting ready for the work week?
Yeah, I gotta work tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
He's like, yeah, no big deal. It's just a feature win.
Yeah. I mean, which is more than, I would have to say, more than me.
You know, I thought now, Cole, do you have the RPM Podcast sticker on your car?
No, I need to get one.
We're getting gypped out of victory lane here. So far, Scott's the only one that's put RPM Podcast in victory lane.
Well, no, Kyle has a few. Joey
Did
had
he get a
few.
win with the sticker on?
Kyle won his heat race, and we appreciate.
Oh, great! Eric Graham, the heat race winner.
During the RPM
Yeah.
Podcast. That's correct.
Jeez.
That's correct. So anyway, we're going to dive right into it here on the RPM Podcast, episode 105. We're going to begin with Cole because Cole won his feature race. It was a pretty emotional victory. Before we get into that, Cole, I didn't get to see what happened. I heard what happened. I wanted to hear what you thought was going through your mind, what happened at the racetrack on the final lap, coming out of turn 4, I guess you would say, coming to the checkered flag.
Well, I could see them right in front of me, the one in the corner, and Janice. It looked like Janice just went in, not intentional, just went in there a little bit too hard and just got into Buddy, and Buddy slowed down, went around him, and I was like, cool, second.
Wait, Buddy slowed down?
Oh. Oh.
But yeah.
Well, anyway, for those who don't know, listening, it was a last lap pass for the lead between Buddy and, gosh, who was the other one? Man, Cole, I feel
Janice.
bad. Janice, that's right. That's right. I was too miserable with that slow joke. The 2 cars got together in front of Cole, and Cole was able to swoop around them for the victory. In fact, Cole didn't know he won the race until he came up by the scales, and they told him to get his butt back on track.
Really?
Yeah, my receiver broke. My earbuds broke. So I didn't even know.
That's what they
Was
always say.
that an advantage for you?
I don't think so.
I mean, our very own Eric Graham is the race director at Wall when they come to Wall.
Okay.
So he did get to not hear him, I guess. But yeah, I remember. Was it your uncle?
Here,
flagging you-
I'll fix that real quick. He should be able to hear this.
Well, I know his uncle was coming and grabbing him off the scales to get him back out there, I believe. I remember him driving by. And you had a special visitor in Victory Lane with you on Saturday night when you pulled into Victory Lane. Who was that, Cole?
That was my dad,
That's my dad.
Ronnie Mullen.
Yes. And it's funny because I love your dad. I love your whole family. And I'm going to say, because I like making fun of your dad, you seem to be the opposite of Ronnie.
That's pretty much what everybody says. You're not the first.
Well, he's not screaming at us, so yeah, that's.
Racing community, not racing community. Everybody says the same thing.
Well, so it was cool. It was a cool moment to see you, Cole, win the race. And for those who don't know, ATQMRA is a partner of ours through the RPM podcast, which is why Josh made the logo comment earlier. So it's great to see. It's great to have you on the show to represent the organization as a great racing organization up here in the Northeast. And it was also great to see you win in that great, really sentimental moment with you and your dad in Victory Lane. Did you happen to stay at Wall, or did you pack up and head out right away once you were done? Cole.
No, we stayed till the end of the night.
So you saw you saw all the racing at Wall. What was your thoughts? Overall, good night? Bad night?
Pretty good night.
Yeah.
Factory stocks need to calm down a little bit, stop wrecking each other.
It's funny you mentioned that because I'm glad we can get into it. Real quick,
So they were driving like sports.
going down the line, Mike Montano ended up winning the factory stock feature event. Shannon Manjo won the limited late
Back
models.
to the doo-doos.
Yeah. I'm not no Eric Brennan. You gotta give me a break here, folks. Cole won the TQ feature. Nick Van Winkle won another feature, which is good to see him win. He had the Nick Van Winkle Burger Special.
Oh, he did.
He
What
did.
was that?
Onion rings on barbecue sauce, or barbecue sauce and onion rings on a burger, rather.
I would say, how do you put onion rings on barbecue?
I just want to
sauce?
say we all looked at each other in the studio. We're like,
Nick's a weird guy. I wouldn't put it
we'll
past
give it
him.
a shot.
Jared Diamaso ended up winning the sportsman feature.
D. Giant Tommaso.
G Giant Maso, whatever.
No, you screwed it.
I don't do names here on the RPM podcast.
Eric Brennan's rolling his eyes right now.
Whatever. He could be on the show. Chaz Okerson ended up winning the modified feature event, which is good to see.
Josh, we can hear you.
So
drinking.
Cole's
It's coffee.
Cole's win began the relatively short night at Wall Stadium Speedway. We ended up getting out at a quarter after 9.
Wow.
Which was a good night overall. You guys had a decent car count. You had what? I think 11 or 12 of you guys TQs.
11.
Cole? 11.
11 TQs.
11. So it was a good night. Decent car count on their end. It was a relatively adequate car count. We talked about on the podcast. We're going to keep it real here. It wasn't that impressive, but they do have a big modified race coming up this coming week. With I believe it's the $4,000 to win a feature event for the modifieds, which probably a lot of guys might be saving their cars for mid-year low.
Well, that and some of the guys, like, wasn't Ricky Collins just blew his motor?
Right.
And,
He blew up.
I've been having a rough week or 2 weeks, we'll call it, with equipment, whether it be electronics or vehicle. It just everything seems to be breaking, and I think maybe it's just kind of like that time of the year for everybody. Cole, let me ask you: are you a fan of putting the wings back on the cars?
I think it makes it driving a little bit better. I think it hurts car count a little bit because not all the people that come, like people that own TQs just for the indoor races, a lot of them don't have wings.
Oh, okay.
So we don't get some of them once in a while. But it makes racing better. I mean, that was the second straight race. We went green to checkered there.
Okay.
It was a very clean race until relatively in the end. But
Yeah,
until
until
Yep.
Buddy slowed down. I'm gonna keep saying it.
you are. You are.
But so you know what I'm going to do? I have to start a rental wing company, so they can come to the track without it, and they can rent a wing for relatively cheap, like crash deposit or whatever, and then they can run and then give it back.
Well, it's cool. And Cole, I don't know if I'm being a little biased because I'm a fan or an official, whatever you see me as.
An asshole.
Yeah. Regardless,
Not yet.
I appreciate
But
your
I
honesty.
get flagged for my language on here.
Anyway, so I think the wings add character as a fan. You guys look like you're actually racing race cars now. I mean, you guys.
Yeah,
it looks fast. It looks badass. It looks like a transformer. A mini.
they
transformer.
they feel like they handle a lot better with the wings. And personally, I like the way they look. I like the way they look with the wings better too.
You know, it's funny. You guys had this is the second race you guys were at Wall with the wings, correct?
Yes.
I believe so. So you and I forget who won the wing race. Was it Buddy? I think
Tim
Buddy.
Proctor.
There you go, Proctor. That's right. So Proctor won the first race, and it really wasn't much of a race. It was more follow the leader because you guys really didn't know how to push the limit because everything was still new. And Eric Graham and I, we were talking. I think we were talking to Buddy and Kyle and stuff. Though Kyle doesn't really matter. Hi, Kyle. But you know, once you guys get the knack down with these wings, we could see really good racing. And you know, you benefited from that between the two front cars tangled up in front of you. And
Was
you ended up
Tidman
winning.
there?
I think
No,
so.
Tidman
Oh,
was-
he wasn't there. That's right. He wasn't there.
Like I said, 'cause I mean, and no offense to the other drivers, but Tidman seems to kind of just show up and walk away with it sometimes, or more often.
Well, that's
than
Cole's
not.
job now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we hope so.
I hope.
He's gonna need to put those winnings into a savings account for the factory stock that he's gonna go into, right?
No, that's tire bank money.
Okay. I tried.
Well, Josh, you mentioned a good point. Have you thought about? And I guess I hate to use the word moving up. I don't like using it in regards to anything. But have you thought about racing anything else, Cole? Any future plans? Anything you want to disclose to us and the RPM podcast listeners?
No. Actually,
Okay.
no plans besides just staying with the TQ.
Oh, good for
I was
you.
waiting for the Hartwig top secret.
Good for you. Are you looking at racing indoors maybe this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that again.
That's it's fun.
Good last year.
So, how much would you say your dad helps you? Not just supports you on in like the general sense, but what does he do for putting the car together? Or I mean, beyond funding, beyond any of that. How does your dad help you? With the car, the setup, getting to the track, all that stuff.
He is most of the mastermind behind everything. Like, I come in, I'm still learning how to set up the cars, but he's been into them a lot more than I have, and he sets them up kind of like he does with a modified. So he knows a lot more than I do. So he's kind of teaching me everything, teaching me the ropes on how to set up the car. And between him and my crew guys, that's how we set up the car.
Okay.
So we saw a very emotional Ronnie Mullen in victory lane with you as
He's always
expected.
emotional. It's just
Well,
it's just whether it's positive or negative.
I'm not trying to put my foot in the mouth because I actually like Ronnie.
I like Ronnie. I've raced. Hey, I got to wreck him by accident, fighting for the lead, which I had so much fun that race, and then I effed up,
And then you wrecked Ronnie.
and I wrecked Ronnie, and I mean, luckily we're cool now, but I mean, I still feel crappy about that, but I mean, I've had a lot of fun racing with him in the past, and I've seen passion in him, and it's good and bad. But I've seen him get angry and then race his way from the back to like third place.
Well,
No Hamilton comments, Nick. No.
not yet. It's really cool to see, Ronnie and Cole have their moments. And actually in studio, we have a few people who actually lived by similar moments. Our very own Tim Riggleman behind you over there.
Hi, Tim. I'm waiting.
Owning the back seat tonight. Tim, you are raising two daughters who are racing. You come from a family of
He's
racing.
racing them?
He's
Raising.
he's raising racers. That sounds like a great name of a TV show. Raising Racers.
Is that our new podcast episode?
Sure.
Title?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not? It's better than coleslaw. No offense, Cole. Anyway, Tim. Yeah, Cole got beat up like that, like a kid. Throw mayo and cabbage on him. Tim, Alexis is here. Bailey's been on the show a few times.
As in once.
Okay. Well, one's better than none.
Multiple segments.
Anyway, let me talk to Tim, Josh. Tim, how is it like? How is it? We talk about it every now and then on the podcast. We talk about Cole and Ronnie. You raising, your kids around racing. I know you want to see your daughter succeed in racing and stuff like that. Is it cool to watch them grow? Are you nervous? Is that emotion that Ronnie kind of showed on Saturday built up inside you?
I can only imagine. I've been
Alexis nodding her head.
I've been friends with Ronnie Mullen. We grew up at Wall Stadium together. Ronnie stayed with us at Pocono, back in the day, and my brother and Ronnie raced all the time, and people thought they were like enemies, and we grew up with them. So I know exactly. I can only imagine how happy Ronnie Mullen was in Victory Lane. I'm sure he was jumping around. He was probably up on top of the car at one point in time. But
I'm sure he tried.
yeah,
I'm sure he tried. You know, it's funny. He beat Cole to Victory Lane on Saturday night.
I'm sure.
Because he was paying attention to who the winner was.
But
There's that big pole, in turn 2 and has the numbers on it.
like you said, I spot the wheel modified too, and people are like, you get nervous doing that. I'm like, no, I don't get nervous. I'm to the point now where Alexis and Bailey are racing. They're getting so good now that I can't watch them. Like I get nervous watching them. I sit by myself, all by myself in the corner, and I just sit there. And sometimes I have to get up and walk away because they're getting faster. And I'm very proud of them. Alexis did really well this past week. So, is she ready to win yet? No. Is she ready to run in the top draft? Yes, she's getting there.
Well, we mentioned that. Alexis, what do you race? You can tell the RPM podcast listeners, what do you do? You race on Sundays, right? Do you know where you race on Sundays? Where? Can you tell me?
You can talk.
Wall.
You race at Wall. You race the Sunday series at Wall with your sister and your dad helping you out and stuff like that. Do you purposely race aggressively with your sister to make your dad annoyed, to get him nervous? I mean, I would. I'd totally mess with your dad if I was in your shoes.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
Do you want to beat your sister more than you want to beat the other drivers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's your favorite NASCAR driver? You gotta think about that.
Martin Truex.
Truex? Okay.
Wasn't Bailey's Kyle Busch?
Of course.
Yeah.
Take the lead away.
Side job.
Side job.
Well, like I said, Alexis, it's great to have you on. I mean, I'm sure you enjoy having your dad around at the racetrack. A little bit? No? I guess she doesn't enjoy your company, Tim.
I don't do much at the track. I just kind of sit back. I'm very fortunate. I have a very good crew and crew chief and people that are willing to help. So
That's what it's all about.
So, what is your favorite food at the track?
I don't eat at the track.
You don't eat at the track? Too nervous?
No.
No? I always got to eat.
That would slow her down. She wants to win. She wants to beat Bailey.
as far as people ask me what's the difference between the two of them, as everybody knows, her uncle Scott is a race car driver. A lot of people,
We didn't notice.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Marshmallow Man.
My wife is the sister of Jim Willis, who passed away a couple years ago. He was a modified and a pro stock champion at Wall Stadium, and did well on the modified tour and everything. So, when people ask me, Alexis has the raw talent. Like, she can do it. She doesn't have to think about it. She just gets in there and she does it. Where Bailey's got to more think about. Bailey can do it, but she's more has to think about it. Where she just goes. Bailey lives and breathes auto racing. She wants to be a race car driver, period. Alexis could care less. If Alexis had Bailey's drive, she would already won. That's the way I try to tell people. She goes out there to have fun. That's all she wants to do, and that's fine.
That was kind of how your dad went about it, right? Tim?
Yes, yeah.
I see, and that's kind of more my mindset. I think it's great to go out, and Cole's probably sitting at his computer going, "What is wrong with you?" shaking his fist. But if I can have a great
He's being
battle,
all Ronnie behind the TV.
I could see. If I have a great battle for 10th place, and I'm racing somebody like Neil Rutt, the third, screw his dad.
We're just screwing dads here on the RPM podcast.
But I'm racing with a smile on my face. I'm having a blast, and but I'm like Casey and others, they want to win. And Cole, what is your take on that? Do you have to win, or can you go out and have a fun race?
I can go out and have a fun race as long as I'm competitive. I don't need to win.
He was riding around third
At least
and won the race.
At least competitive with my dad.
Okay, so you got something to prove to him then, right?
Not more something to prove, just something to uphold my trash talking status.
So
You guys are like speaking a foreign language to me right now.
What, trash talk?
No. Like like if I came second, like I didn't enjoy the race.
God, you are Hamilton.
Yeah.
What a crybaby.
I was going to get to it, Nick. You know, you drag raced on the show, our very own Nick Rendo. I know you did it with your dad as I knocked my Mac off. You had a very success.
Yeah,
You
I
found
actually
great
started
success.
like around your age. How old are you?
8.
You're 8? That's exactly when I started too. Yeah. 3rd grade? Cool.
Good times.
Bringing me back, yeah.
Good times.
That's
And
awesome.
you raced with your dad growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys found great success. I know you guys worked hard. But it's funny because his dad and him have the same mindset. And it's
That
funny.
Think wins coaching?
I would say so, yeah. I would say so, yeah. You know, but
Third
it's
week
good
in
to
a
see. Cole, I got a question for you. Would you wreck your dad for a win?
I'd move him out of the way, but I wouldn't wreck him.
So you're not quite Ryan Newman.
You would rattle his cage, as they say.
All right, now do you think Ronnie would wreck you
Yeah.
to win?
Not intentionally.
But see, your dad can get away with that.
Oh, that's great.
He can get away with it on the track, but not at home.
Oh, okay. All right.
And just
I like the trash talk.
So
for the people that don't know, like who we're talking about, his father has basically won a modified feature, a feature in every division at Wall Stadium. Like Ronnie's been a Wall Stadium regular for many, many years, and he's very passionate about how he goes about things. And it shows when he wins. So
And it shows when he's not doing so well, especially if Ronnie gets wrecked. And that's why I love Ronnie.
right, Cole.
Especially.
Right, Cole. Ronnie's won in every single division at Wall Stadium, correct?
Everything except for the trucks because they don't have them anymore, and a TQ,
Yeah, we just started doing the TQ.
which is one of the reasons.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we have TQ now.
Yes.
Well, so you beat him to it, Cole. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you happen to have any sponsors you want to thank before we wrap this up? No?
See, that's where mine went blank Saturday.
you weren't prepared for it,
No.
which that's a good thing. To me that's that emotion of like you're just so overwhelmed with it all.
Yeah.
To me that's awesome.
Well,
and
I know
says so much.
I know your dad helps you out. I know your dad owns. What does your dad do? I know you work with him, right?
I work with him. I work with Hartwig doing landscaping, and I have my own job at the boardwalk right down by my house.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So if any of our
does
listeners need a
drive.
garage door, they know to call your dad.
Yeah. Yep.
That's true.
There you go.
And the Hartwig helps everybody out. And I will say, because I know Hartwig takes a lot of crap from people, if nothing else, he does everything for that kid. I mean, to get him, they were just in Indiana.
Yeah, we were talking about dads and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
it's amazing, the dedication that both Ronnie and
Right.
Hartwig put in to get their kids to different races and to support them. And I mean, make fun of or like, we tease, of course, but
Right.
it's no joke.
Oh, yeah.
with what they put into it.
Between
And
Paul and what Ronnie does, I mean, it's what makes the sport go round. Tim.
I hope I
Though
can.
we don't
do that
really
for
make
my
fun of
kid.
Tim. It's really hard to make fun of Tim. So, well, I think that wraps up the local segment.
Yeah.
Cole, thank you for coming on. I know it was late notice and we kept you waiting, but hopefully you enjoyed yourself here on the RPM podcast, and hopefully you come back.
He's like, maybe.
Yeah, it was okay. I've done worse.
Yeah.
Cole, just real quick before we let you go, what have you learned today?
Today?
Yeah. Well, more in this past, 20 minutes.
First I need to get a webcam.
Yeah, it feels kind of odd. Like well, actually, the cool thing is you could be doing this naked right now.
That's sick.
Well, I'm
No,
not.
I would be.
I mean, it wouldn't be
That
cool
would be
for me, but I mean, you can sit in the air conditioner and be like, ah.
That would just be the weirdest thing ever.
I'm all
You
about
say
it.
it be like, we don't know it yet, but I'm naked.
I thought that was Eric Brennan's favorite part about calling in was that he could do it without his pants on.
Right, because he had to have a shirt on because he had.
But
a
he had
webcam.
Pornhub like in a smaller
He
screen.
had his
off to the
racing wheel behind him. Who are we kidding? Well, Cole, thanks for coming. We're going to take a real quick break on the RPM podcast. We'll get back with some national stuff, and we'll wrap that up. Episode 105. Like I said, Cole, we got a packed house here on the RPM podcast. Stay tuned. Hey, yeah, you. Like what you hear and still not yet a subscriber on YouTube? Stop missing out and get notifications every time we drop a new episode.
we drop it like it's hot.
Knock on the camera. I love it. Marketing 101 here at the RPM podcast. You don't even have to go to college if you listen to us.
You know, I came up with that myself.
He didn't have to hire a marketing agent.
I guess not.
Oh my
I
god.
feel like there was an insult in there.
No, you.
Welcome back to the
you did the
RPM
right thing,
podcast,
Nick.
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
we
you,
are
Nick.
so happy that you were still with us, and we have a packed studio in the house. Sam, why don't you give
We
us
do.
the lowdown on everybody in here?
And our screen is not packed.
No, it's empty.
It's sad.
Our porch is packed, but our TV screen is empty.
Packed raising kids in packed porches. I'm changing it.
And we're gonna make Lexix talk. We gotta make Lexix talk. Nick, you're showing me these cars, and we're trying to do the show. I don't have $40,000 to spend.
Folks at home, I actually made Nick just search what a banana hammock is.
Nick is going to wear it to
Stop.
the Grand Prix of Canada
Stop.
next
You
year.
hear that, Casey?
Can I check your underwear at least?
Oh, that's an inside joke. People don't know, Sam.
If you listen to the RPM podcast, you would know that I checked the underwear at Wall Stadium
True.
Speedway.
I like the little cliffhanger because now they have to go back to listen to what was
Yes.
it, last week's episode?
Right. Anyway, speaking of last week, the Xfinity guys were at Daytona National Speedway.
Were they?
They were. Oh, before that, though, almost skipped my mind. Travis Pastrana, folks. Not really racing related, but
Well, it's racing related. He
I had
ran
to-
Xfinity.
I had to
Yeah,
buy
he's
the Red
got-
Bull.
He has NASCAR ties. for
True.
sure, yeah.
So he raced Xfinity. We're going to talk about the Xfinity
Poorly.
guys. Yeah, but, you know, what is what it is. However, Travis Pastrana broke, or did he tie Evel Knievel's record?
He did 3 of Evil's most famous and dangerous jumps all in a row. What was it, like 1 an hour across a 3-hour special on the History Channel that was live. Pretty badass. He did one where he jumped. I don't remember how many crushed cars.
I think they said
52.
50,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was 52 crushed cars, 16,
16
Greyhound
buses.
buses. Mind you, Greyhound buses. That's very important.
Yeah, and Evil actually did 14, so
What's a
I believe
Greyhound
he
bus?
topped that record. And probably the most impressive feat of the night would be the Caesar Palace fountain jump.
Why?
Why? Because he actually had 200 feet less
Yeah.
to
Whoa.
accelerate.
I'm confused.
I thought I was more worried about the landing.
You're not supposed to be talking. This isn't the F1 segment.
I know, right?
It's like
He
a
has-
little fast
He
forward.
has a voice.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate you stole my drawing here. I drew that last week. How nice is that?
Prime example of that, like you just saying he doesn't talk. Like I think this thing had everybody excited. If you're a NASCAR fan, or you're a dirt car fan, Indy fan, motorcycle.
Travis Pastrana fan.
Travis has done everything, so he brought all this genre together,
He's a marketing demigod.
and it was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Had the suit
Now,
and everything.
Was
Suit,
it
the high heel boots.
was it the same bike for all 3 jumps?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Because there was an Indian bike.
It was
that
the
he-
same bike. I mean, I don't know if it was the same exact bike.
I think they promoted it like it was the same exact bike, but wasn't nobody real? I don't
No,
know.
I mean I could understand if he got if he switched the actual bike because he broke one. That's fine. But
Since we have some
it was
incredibly smart listeners, we were actually talking about the setup of the bike, and I wouldn't be surprised if every jump had a slightly different setup going on.
No, I'm fine with that. I was just saying, because it was a big, heavy, like Indian motorcycle, not as opposed to like when Robbie Knievel did it, like we were talking about with the dirt bike,
before
which
we
is,
went on the-
weighs nothing.
Before we went on the air, me and Tim were talking in depth about this, and we have a strong rule against that, and we actually broke that rule about talking before we started filming. But we were saying how everybody who did Evil's jumps tried to mimic him and even beat his records have done it, on a dirt bike with a foot of suspension travel.
What
and
did Gary Wells do it on?
Oof.
Can you look that up?
I don't know, but he
Yeah.
got a
Go
bad
ahead.
accident.
He
so I
got
would think-
injured. Is
Yeah,
what
I
he
would
got.
think probably the same. So Travis ended up doing it on an old Indian bike, which is probably as similar to a Harley you can get not getting a Harley.
It looks like a
And
dirt bike.
Was he not? Was he not going to do it on a Harley? Was
I'm
it a
sure it was for
respect for
sponsorship.
evil
I think
thing?
sponsorship reasons.
Okay, well, there's that, and
If I
there's
had
that
to
whole wasn't Harley moving some of their production overseas, and with the whole Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very pro-American event, so sure, anything I think is possible there. But so they made a point to say that his bike only had about 4 inches of suspension travel, and I was saying, it didn't seem like he had like a really
3
hard
pumps,
hard
7
landing
seconds,
like Evil.
4
And
inches.
Tim actually brought something to my mind that me and my dad
Size
did not
does
think
not
of.
matter.
So please
It's the matter
enlighten our
amount
listeners.
of pups.
I think that, like you said, that the bike had 4 inches of travel, but think that the ramp was engineered where that made up the other 6 inches of travel. Like it had shock absorbers or something.
Yeah.
Or a soft wall type thing.
Yeah.
Technology in it where it would collapse and give him the extra.
I totally believe that. I mean, if you know anything, have any mechanical knowledge and background, you know that something had to be different because he just did not land hard enough to have done the jumps the way they said they were done.
I mean, if you go back on YouTube and you watch Evil Knievel's or the other guys, they're basically landing on a piece of plywood.
Right.
Where this guy's got
a pillow.
Brand new technology and everything else.
And with the ramp being lined up to the exact degree of how
were there
it should
Bill Steen stickers all along the ramp?
not taking anything away from
No,
Travis
not at all.
Because
No.
you know what? That's just the way the times went, and I think they did an amazing job trying to make it as authentic as possible. But at the same time, the dude doesn't have a death wish. No one wants to see him break 40 bones, like what happened to Evil when he did the Caesar mountain jump.
I like how they mentioned right before the last big jump, they were like, he was playing with his kids, hanging out with his wife, and he might die right now, but
I'm not even trying to plug myself, but I'm shamelessly going to do it. Being a racing mindset coach, it was wild to see how quickly this dude gets into the zone. Like, you watch it before your eyes, and it's really cool to watch. He's very, very mentally calibrated, which is why he's excelled to the levels that he has in pretty much any genre the dude steps in. So,
but I think
a lot of respect.
Doing so much of it, like when you do it enough. I mean, like for me, it was once a week. I would climb into a car, and play race car driver, and I would get nervous every time. And I'm not saying that he doesn't get nervous at all, but I think he's done so many things over in so many different places that it's almost like boop, like I've never been interviewed for a major TV thing like that, or so for me it would all be like shock, and I think that he's kind of just become used to it almost.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely gets nervous, going up to it. He's still a human being, but the fact is, when that visor goes down, he just knows what he has to do, and he's 100% present in the moment. And when he's doing that, he just forgets to be scared. You don't have time for it. And he's just very, very mentally calibrated.
Well, I think when you're on it, you're looking at hitting your marks and all that. So I think, like you said, there's
no
so
time
much
to be
going
nervous.
on in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that too. One thing that used to freak me out, to be completely honest, completely transparent, one thing that used to freak me out when I was driving is somebody would, have an accident or an explosion or an oil down in my lane right before me. And in drag racing, if you've ever seen, the 2 red lights go on the tree and, you got to stop, and I'm waiting in the water box, and you have to have a lot of trust in the track crew because, you're the next person coming up on that accident scene at, 90, 95 miles an hour, with a very small wheelbase, and it's not a great feeling. So that used to freak me out for sure. But, the second the engine, turns on and I'm doing my burnout and I'm lining up, for the starting
all you can do at that point is react,
just
right?
forget. You forget.
You're going to handle it as it goes.
Yeah.
Actually, the funniest story I have, this is going to be a quick side tangent. I'll be quick about it, I promise, Sam.
3 pumps quick?
Just about. It might be 4 pumps. Might be 4. The weirdest thing that I've ever seen the red lights, the flashing red lights come on for, was I was at Englishtown, and after like the whole main event was going on, they had junior dragsters come out and do some runs or whatever, which is, we would sit and watch them. It was great. Some guy had one of those like gold wing Honda, like bikes with the radios and, just ridiculously gaudy.
Okay.
And he was turning around behind the cars or something like that. His bike went over. He laid it over. Like, he wasn't even going very fast. It was like a slow turn, fell over, and it was right behind the cars. So the drivers had no idea what was going on, but they saw the light start flashing, and they ended up having to shut it down, reset, and get this guy out of the way.
That was weird.
But it was the dumbest thing ever. Some idiot just lays his bike over behind it. I don't know. I felt bad for the kids. They got to go again, but I can imagine you have like a mental checklist that you're kind of like, all right,
no, it messes
visor
with you.
down, and now you have to do it all over again?
It'll really mess with you because I've never had that happen to me. I mean, in drag racing, usually, the 2 cars that went before you are already off the track. So if something were to happen, it would have happened before you're at that point. So that would be extremely weird for you to be doing something.
That would be like if you were staged and somebody
happen.
ran across the track and they did it something like
doesn't happen.
What your point is, Josh, is distraction? Is that what your point?
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that. Did you notice Travis's helmet had a very narrow...
I noticed that.
Like horse
visor.
Yeah, like where he couldn't see anything to distract him.
No peripheral.
Yeah, so it's a good
Just
point.
focus on the ramp ahead.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's almost like he was better off just closing his eyes and just hoping for the best. That's how I live my life.
I wonder if there was a further purpose for that,
I mean-
other than just his own mental. like to avoid laser pointers and stuff. Which I doubt
Anything.
would be.
I mean, in
Bullets.
this day and age, how many phone cameras were going off while he was doing it?
It was Vegas.
It was at night. The fireworks.
Yeah.
Dude had pyrotechnics
Oh, yeah.
2 feet away from him on both sides. But we were even talking about the speed of the bike because Evil had about 400 feet to get up to speed to, I think, around 70, 77 miles an hour to jump Caesar's Fountain. Travis,
sorry.
due to new construction and new
It
buildings
was
and new
tight.
things put up, it was much tighter. It was about
Yeah.
half the distance, 200 feet.
I mean, if you just go back on YouTube and look at the difference of the
Yeah.
surroundings, it was amazing.
Yeah, and I believe he actually had to go the opposite way that Evil did just because of the way the new layout of Las Vegas is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking 30, 40 years later, and just when he whomped the throttle and as he's shifting to second and third,
Where
you
did
just
he use
see
the throttle?
He
drag racing terminology coming up. You just see, the front tire trying to lift off the ground. The acceleration on this bike was nuts.
Did it go brap?
No, it did not. It still sounded
It
pretty
went
American.
ka-chow!
And I don't know if you guys ever seen. I mean, I've never really seen an American bike do a wheelie, but that wasn't even the most impressive part. The braking on the
Yeah,
front
on the
tire.
front, yeah.
I mean, you only see that on those Japanese bikes. That was pretty badass for sure.
I've seen it on dirt bikes before.
The Japs know how to get low, apparently.
My thing after all that, that was just good, old-fashioned American TV. There wasn't nothing scripted and everything. I mean, it brought me back to my childhood, sitting on the floor with my brother watching Evel Knievel do it on TV. My 3 girls they sat and they watched the whole thing. They didn't get distracted. I could just imagine every
That's
household was. Did we ever figure out how?
Yes, so I'm glad.
Hashtag Trump.
This is why we have Tim on the show, because he can help me segue. For those who don't know, History Channel picked this up. They nabbed a total video coverage of online streaming and everything of over 12 million views.
Cool.
And to back up what you said, I mean, when do we actually get a show that's on for 3 hours that's at core family values, not smutty and it's just rare.
I don't know. I mean,
these
I
days.
get what you're
I'll
saying.
only care when they do it with a top fuel Harley.
Definitely
Eric, now,
refreshing.
to what you just said about the views, what does that compare to the History Channel's highest rated show besides that?
Pawn Stars.
Whatever, yeah.
I've been there.
Give
It's
me a
smaller
second.
than you
American
think.
Pickers or
You see it on TV, you think it's this big store. When I was in Vegas, I went there, very small. Very,
Yeah,
very
they
small.
said. I heard it's not even worth the wait in line to get in.
Nope, definitely not. And then when I was there, I asked the classic question that everyone asks: "Where are they? Do they
don't
actually
even
work
go there
here?"
anymore.
No. And they're like, "Oh, they're on vacation." Yeah, I think they're always on vacation.
They come out just to record another.
Yeah.
You know what? I
Although
would not
Tim
even be
O'Shea-
surprised if they have a studio where they record.
Tim O'Shea got his picture with Chum Lee.
Oh yeah,
There, yeah, they went
Okay.
there. Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know.
The old man just passed away.
Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Our condolences from the RPM podcast
Well, the meme-
to the Harrison family.
the meme was the old man saying, "I want to live to be 100," and then it's Rick saying, "Sorry, the best I can do is 77."
All right, now, do you think it's like anything else? Now that they've done this and they've gotten huge ratings, do you think we'll see other shows on different channels trying to mimic this? Somebody else.
You
I
might
would hope
see
so.
one or
I mean,
two.
I think the next channel we would see attempted is the Discovery Channel. I mean, they seem like a direct competitor to History. I was just
Aren't
saying,
they owned by
when's
the
the last
same-
time 12 million people turned on the History Channel? You can only watch so much American Pickers. Though Shipping Wars is pretty cool.
Why are we dissing American Pickers on my RPM podcast?
No, I like the History Channel. I'm just saying, when's the last time that 12 million people agreed with us?
and moving on.
This is my podcast.
Here's your hot dog.
Remember when I found out you were also watching The Men Who Built America Frontiersmen? And I was
Why
like,
are we
"What
talking
is
about
going
this?"
on?"
It's quality TV. Just
really
like here on
is.
the RPM podcast, this is a quality podcast.
I'm sorry, folks.
I can't find the ratings.
What's
though
up, Ellen?
It says here
I saw your text just came in.
she's gonna hate you.
No, she's not.
Good.
On the RPM podcast, Tim, you brought up that the History Channel with the ratings, they said World War II in color was their most popular show. However, I can't find the ratings, so I'm gonna hopefully maybe we'll tweet that out later. Follow us
Yeah.
on Twitter at the RPM podcast.
Anyways, let's move on to.
So Travis Pastrana was an Xfinity race car driver. The Xfinity race car drivers were racing on Friday night. It was a pretty decent race, I would say, especially for Daytona, 4th of July race weekend, though it's kind of a blue ball on 4th of July because 4th of July weekend was in Chicago. Now we're in Daytona. Make up your mind, America. What weekend is it?
we get to celebrate both. Hey, what's
At
more
the
American
same
than that?
damn time.
We're
Nope.
gonna take we're gonna make one holiday into 2 holiday weekends. America.
For each World War we won. Boom, roasted. Take that, Europe.
We're going for 3.
Whoa.
You voted.
Vote for me.
Go hide behind that wall of yours. Anyway, the winner of the RPM podcast of the Xfinity race at Daytona National Speedway was not Justin Haley. It was Kyle Larson.
Good. Right, you'll never hear me say that.
Kyle Larson won the race. Elliott Sadler, Christopher Bell,
That
Ryan
guy's
Blaney,
face makes me want to punch it.
and Gralla round out the top 5.
It's not going to stop.
Kyle Larson. God, I'm gaffing up tonight. Kyle Larson had a W after he went to Grandview Tuesday night with Casey.
Yep.
And he had that really bad mix-up with Kyle Busch the week before. So it was good to see Kyle
That
Larson
wasn't
win.
a bad mix-up. That was a fun
It was
mix-up.
fun racing. However, who did have a bad mix-up was Justin Haley. It was not Justin Haley's night. He was starting his second ever career Xfinity race. He was coming off of a recent Truck Series win. It was a Cinderella story. He made an amazing move coming off of 4, cut all the way down to the yellow line,
And then below it.
went below the yellow line, came back up, and got the win. And this is going to be called as one of the, one of the closest NASCAR finishes ever, when you really, in reality, you're really watching the battle for second. But that ended up being the battle for the win. They penalized Justin Haley to the last car in the lead lap being 18th.
I mean, I would have been fine if they moved him back to third. I would have been fine with that. The point is he didn't get the win because he crossed the border illegally and they had to deport him.
I feel like I read that on someone's Facebook recently. I don't know if it was yours or someone else's.
That was mine.
Yeah. So anyway, I know you didn't get to see the finish, Nick. It's a pretty clear cut.
Nick looks disgusted by this.
I should have warned you about all this, I guess. It's a pretty clear cut call. NASCAR enforced.
It's a black and white rule. That's all
Right.
there is to it. It's so
Right.
simple.
The line, Justin, the line. So
The sad part about it is that he had enough room that he didn't.
correct.
Have to,
It was a rookie mistake.
Yes.
He
Now-
had a half a car length between him and I want to say Elliott Sadler because Kyle Larson was on the outside.
I wanted Sadler to win. I did personally, but Haley didn't deserve the win because of breaking that rule, and it's a clear black and white rule. It sucks that he had room and he went too far. Now I understand as a driver when you go to pass two cars that are banging off of each other, you want to get as far away as possible.
Right.
I completely understand that.
Right.
Don't get me wrong there, but he also had to know that he was going below the yellow line. I mean, as fast as things happen, you can still kind of see that you're below the line.
He did a really good job judging the gap between the pack and him coming off 4. He went right down to the yellow line as close as you can go from going over it, and then he went over it.
Yeah.
So I think he got nervous. I think he saw Elliott Sadler and Kyle Larson shift down, and he goes, well, I want to win the race. I'm going to pull a Reagan Smith in 2008 from Tony Stewart and not get the victory. Because that's what happened between Reagan Smith in 2008 and Talladega.
It's just, everybody was up in arms. We had people saying, oh, but you screwed up a good story. Well, no, the story needs to be earned.
Right.
It's not a good story if you bend the rule to make it a good story.
Right.
It's just, like, oh, there's a sick kid in a hospital somewhere, so we have to send every actor to go visit
boy.
them. No. When it
boy.
happens, it's great, but you can't make it a normal thing. Otherwise,
Right.
you're giving participation trophies.
Right.
And that's what everybody's
So
whining about.
a lot of people argue that the rule is outdated.
No.
A lot of people argue that it should be up to the driver's choice. The driver's option, if you will, to race wherever they want to race.
No.
They're race car drivers. Let them police themselves.
All right, now
Are those people that are those
Go
people
ahead,
that have
Tim.
never drove a race car before? We said
Most of them are.
Okay.
All right.
yeah.
Go ahead, Tim.
Sorry, man.
can you refresh my memory on why they put the yellow line there to begin with?
All right. If you look at them when they go like on the backstretch, you can go like 7 wide on the backstretch. When you go to the turn at Daytona, 4 wide may happen, but really let's call
Or
it 3
did
wide.
they put it there for a safety reason? If you got down there, you got loose and got back up into the thing.
I think they wanted to control the amount of cars coming into 3 because 3 is a very dangerous turn at Daytona for many reasons. And I think they didn't want to have 7.5 cars trying to fit in a 3-lane track.
Yeah.
Because you look at a place like Auto Club, when the track is really wide, but you can race wherever the hell you want. People get down the apron.
Yeah.
And people use that as an argument with this whole line.
And Phoenix too, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
the dogleg.
Yeah.
And those two are arguably some of the most exciting races in the
Yeah.
year.
So what's
But
the
you
point
have
of
the
having,
room to do.
Coincidentally.
right? So what's the point of having a line there if they can go underneath it?
If they can fit it safely, then yeah. But if it's going to be,
I think it would create a bottleneck.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what
Yeah.
it's for. And they ran the whole
just
way
create
around
like
the
a funnel.
track. They made it a simple rule. It's, I don't know. It's the simplest, most black and white rule. It's kind of like the factory stocks camber rule.
Yikes.
No, you're allowed 7 degrees. If you're 7.1 to 7.5, I think it is, you get put back like 3 spots. If it's 7.5 or over, total DQ. Done. It's that simple. It's you measure it, and that's the thing.
I would say I am for, and this is not going to make for good podcasting because I'm agreeing with everybody here. I think that it's a solid rule. It's like the speed limit rule in pit road. Well, if you're going to let them go over 5 miles per hour and that's their buffer, they go over it, you get a penalty. Yes. If we say screw it, let's not put a pit road speed.
You're
limit.
setting it to 5 miles an hour over.
Right.
What's wrong
That
with
is-
setting it to the number?
Right. That is your buffer. We're giving you room to mess up. And we all know they're not messing up. They're trying to get the edge over everyone else.
Exactly. They're going to push it to that.
Right.
15. Let's say it's 55. They're going to go to 59.9.
Right. So the issue is that Justin Haley had was the lack of clarity on NASCAR's end on describing this rule. However, it's very clear. If you advance your position going under the yellow line in a NASCAR race,
gotta be the
you
clearest
will
rule.
be
But
disqualified.
there is a judgment part to that. 'Cause
Correct.
If you get
If you're
pushed down,
forced.
if you're forced down,
And what he should have done is
he was not forced
No,
down.
he drove down.
Yeah.
He drove that number 24 car underneath the yellow line and said, "Thank you very much, NASCAR. Take the win." NASCAR said, "Nope. Have a good one."
And the other thing is, a lot of people you'll see, especially online, saying, "Well, they put grass there so they don't race there." The whole point is that they pay, like everybody. If you look at Talladega
was
and
grass,
Daytona,
actually.
they had that whole backstretch was grass, and
Yeah.
then they paved a ton of it
Yeah.
because that actually would help the cars slow down because the
Sure.
tires
they
would be.
pick up speed sliding on
Yeah,
grass.
it
Not
feels
to
that
mention
way.
the manhole covers.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
instead of the cars getting airborne digging in and all that, they
Yeah.
paved it for safety.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and then the cars are going to try to go there. So you have to put these guys within a box of rules. That's all there is to it. So I don't give a crap about your damn what's a good storyline for the kid's first win. I don't think he's a bad kid. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve a win.
This-
it's just that violated
It's
the
a good
rules.
tie into someone else's first win. Wink. Isn't it Eric Jones' first win in Sprint Cup?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to real quick, man. You and Tim helping me out with the segues, and I have a Red
We're
Bull.
not
I
done.
should be on tonight.
We're not done.
I think. First off, props to NASCAR for being consistent because this totally could have helped them out with the ratings.
They can help out
However,
the FIA.
it would have been a wreck fest come Saturday night for the Cup race. So they set the precedent there, and they said, especially for the Cup drivers, this is what's going to happen to you if you cross my line. Don't cross it.
yeah.
Walk it. Don't cross it.
All right, Johnny Cash.
Walk it and talk it.
You did see that Ryan Truex got caught in the wrong place at the wrong
I did.
time. And
He-
he kept
that
working
was an
his way
ugly
back
car.
up and then got smacked.
That was an ugly car.
I like it because you don't.
Well, thank you, Josh. The amount of love in this RPM podcast studio down here in Waretown is real, folks. It is very real.
What do you think, Alexis? Was it a good call or a bad call? Did Haley deserve that win or no?
No.
Oof.
No? All right, there you go. You have
So
it.
you heard it first here in the RPM podcast. Justin Haley, you better work for it harder. However, I don't think there's such thing as bad PR in his
I don't
case.
think he's ever coming on the show.
I think everybody is going to be like, wow, this Justin Haley kid can win. He won the truck race a few weeks ago. He made it on the RPM podcast thumbnail. You're welcome. And he made it again by screwing up. So he's consistent. You gotta live and you learn. He's definitely gonna,
I don't think he's a bad person. I don't
No,
think.
he mentioned though because the sponsorship he brings only is giving him a few races. That win, he said, would have launched it to even bigger.
It would have.
But dude, you messed
He
it
should
up.
have stayed above the line.
The line.
All right, now this might open up a can of worms, but
Uh-oh.
did he win the race? Yes, but he didn't do it. I mean, that move.
Right.
That move was awesome.
Did he
You know?
cross the line first?
Yeah,
Yes.
he won that race, but with the rules the way that they are, and he went below the line and he got disqualified. You know, if
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, there's a lot going on inside a race car. There's a lot of pressure. It's not a lot of visibility. I'm not saying that
There's enough
visibility is a thing, but,
visibility to know.
but we can't all gang up on them like this and be Monday morning quarterbacks because there's a lot.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
There's a lot going on in there.
Josh
Ooh,
Matthews
ooh.
will do it for you. The only issue is, I would say, is
Scott Riggleman, you've driven to Daytona.
yeah.
How easy is it to stay above the line?
Cole, are you still there? I think it's one of the most important things as a race car driver to realize that you messed up. He messed up. He didn't have to drive under the yellow line. He had a half a car length between him and
What
Elliott
did he
Sadler.
actually say in his interview?
He mentioned he kind of blamed
He
NASCAR.
blamed NASCAR saying that it was unclear, which is
Right.
total bull
No,
poopy.
I agree 100% with Josh. It's not unclear. You go below that line,
Right.
you're done.
Right.
I knew that.
Right. Nick would be like, "No, you. Let's go. I'll show you my yellow line."
To answer your question,
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't blame his spotter for not telling him where the yellow line is.
Right, and I was going to bring this up. Great segue into the Cup race weekend and everything. Tim, do you think the spotter has any responsibility on this call for the Xfinity race?
For the
Friday night?
yellow line, as quick as I was watching the race, and I didn't even think that kid. I'm like, okay, Elliott Sadler and the other guy, they're who's going to win out of those
Right.
two? And all of a sudden, he shot down to the bottom. I don't think anybody could have said, "Watch the yellow line that quick." You know what I mean? Like that kid just threw.
The spotter
threw
was
it in
probably
there.
like, "Oh my god, that's sick."
Yeah. And I'm sure you're getting to it, but in the Cup race, they talk about the vantage point at Daytona. It's a little crazy there.
Right. So you mentioned the Cup race. The Cup guys were racing at Daytona as we
How many big ones, man? 4, 3, crazy.
In this room?
Wrecks. Crazy big wrecks.
there's a lot of wrecks in this room.
A lot of wrecks. There's only like 10 cars left. Literally like 10 cars left with no damage at the end.
Anyway.
At one point, the top 3
That's
looked
about
like,
how many finished the F1 race.
Yeah, something like that. 2 pretty crazy weekends.
Speaking
A lot
of crazy,
steel
Chase
and
Elliott.
carbon fiber flying everywhere.
Chase, you
Just
done?
like at Pittsburgh.
You done?
You remember Pittsburgh?
I do remember
I almost
Pittsburgh.
got whacked with a go-kart.
It's that Italian thing. You almost got whacked.
And you womped your throttle.
I just watched The Godfather, actually.
Oh,
Anyway.
No.
I'm Sicilian.
No.
So Eric Jones ends up winning his first Cup Series race at Daytona National Speedway. Chase Elliott was on the pole for the race, though. He's in our thumbnail this week. Was that what you insinuating with the beer? Or are you signing?
I was asking if you wanted one.
Oh no, I'm good.
Sorry.
I'm good.
We're trying to do the dinner with racers.
Right, we need to like chewing gum.
Yeah, we'll make all sorts of eating noises
I
and
can't
stuff.
believe that you even said that, Josh. Scott's not here to mention
I was
that.
about to say,
man.
yeah. Scott
He
Riggleman-
won't hear this.
I think Scott said he doesn't like the noise of like the smacking of the lips and stuff.
Who would?
Talk dirty to me, daddy.
2 chains.
Anyway, Eric Jones isn't winning the race. I can't believe I just said that on the podcast. Casey Kane with a strong run, finishing 4th. He looked like he actually had the best car towards the end, but as my friend Nick Rendo said, there wasn't many cars left. A lot of big wrecks, a lot of big names out early. My pick, Brendan Gaughan, did pretty well. I think he finished 12th. Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski.
All wrecked.
Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, you name it, they probably wrecked. Kyle Larson, Friday night winner, not so much on Saturday. I mean, overall, it was a pretty tough weekend for about everybody but Ryan Newman's mom. So,
Yeah. So now here's the thing. Everybody's blaming the 17. Now this can carry over to the factory stocks.
hi, Elliott.
Sure. Sure. Anyway, my favorite was it a tweet that went out? It said, "If the 17 has wrecked you or your family, you may be entitled to a financial compensation."
Yeah.
Which is, now here's the thing: do you guys really think Stenhouse was like that big at fault? I mean, I know he was the car that made contact.
He's
not
a
denying it.
cocky plate racer, and I love it.
Okay, but was
Boom.
he? Did he cause those two big wrecks? At least those two. Did he really cause it, or was because for me it was he was coming up and you know like who did he spin the first time? Was it Newman? No. It looked like he caught the bumper and it was just bad timing. And
Right.
I don't think it was entirely like him doing it because he was being cocky. It was they were on the backstretch running down and. Oh, bad timing, caught the bumper as the guy was coming up, and it turned him. I mean, I don't think you put anybody in that position, and it's going to happen.
I'd have to agree with you on that. Go ahead, Tim.
I did not see the race. I was at Riverhead spotting for the modified tour race. What lap are we talking about? Was it lap 5? Was it 2 to go?
How's
He was
bragging
doing
camp going?
You know, I'm not. I don't have nothing to brag about. We didn't do very well. Like, was it lap 5 that he didn't lift going into the corner, or was it?
It was early. I forget exactly how early, but it was very early in the race.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up here, but my computer's not cooperating very well.
There's supposed to be a driver protocol on these restrictor plate races that if it's like lap 6 or 7 or
You let
even,
off.
Yeah, you're supposed to let off.
Respect.
Yeah, exactly. Good.
I'm all for that, but I think sometimes you just have a run and you may have the guy. It happens. I think even if you lift at a certain point, it's not going to do quite enough.
I hate to go back to the Xfinity race, but we saw Justin Allgaier and Elliott Sadler when they were racing with one another. I believe it was Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier
Somebody
left.
deleted some of my stuff from our doc.
Uh-oh. It wasn't me.
Damn it, Sam.
I just added.
I had in here that Tift was not at fault.
Oh, okay.
And that was something I think that played into our spotter talk.
Gotcha.
We'll get into that in a minute. But let's finish up the Stenhouse thing. I don't know if he's just butthurt over the Danica thing. No, anyway.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Anyway, I personally don't think that he was at fault. The memes, the jokes are all sorts of fun. I love it. That's everybody, backseat driving like Tim over here behind,
Team backseat.
because he's backseat. He's
Windows
behind
up.
me. Anyway, the one that I think that I would blame House, oh God,
Blame House. House isn't here. It's Lupus,
I would
Josh.
blame Stenhouse
It's
for
Lupus.
Was at the end of the race. Larson blew a tire. Stenhouse got involved. It was whatever. I was really only ticked off at Stenhouse towards the end of the race because he brought out a
So
yellow.
aggressive. I think he started like 2 big ones, right? He wrecked someone for, what was it, 3rd, 2nd, and then he had some other major contact with someone.
Yeah,
Down the backstretch.
Yeah,
Yeah, crazy.
It's just, but everybody's
Crazy,
putting
dude.
all this blame, and I don't think it's entirely due.
If Dale Jr. did this, they'd be like, everyone else got into Junior's way.
What was it when
Yeehaw.
Dylan did it? Like, oh, he was a bulldozer. He plowed through him or whatever. But
Burnt
like you said,
Baby Earnhardt.
if it was Redneck Jesus, then it would have been he rattled his cage.
Yo, he walked on water.
Here's a prime example. Like he was saying, Facebook and all this other stuff. What were the drivers' interviews when they got out of the care center? Were they blaming Stenhouse? Did they?
Who blamed Stenhouse?
I forget. Oh,
my God, we are terrible, terrible hosts.
no, I am.
Eric Brennan, who?
Because that's what you got to go by the other drivers. They're on the track with the guy. They're the ones racing with him.
Right. I mean, when you see that bright blue car come after you, I think the one spotter goes, Stenhouse is in this one too. So I mean, it was a pretty. I don't know. I feel bad for Ricky Stenhouse. I think he's a victim here.
I mean, the dude's a quarterback. It's it's hard to compete with.
Oh, jeez. Let this Danica stuff go. We're talking about racing, not The Bachelor on freaking RPM podcast. I just think the racing. I think the racing was great. I remember sitting down watching it with Cadillac Sam, and Cadillac Sam is not a big fan of NASCAR anymore because he hates the stages because he's a grumpy old man.
Because
I
he's
agree.
wrong.
I'm with you,
He's stuck
Mr.
in a
Ballard.
different era.
Anyway, he's gonna listen to the show and be like, "Oof." Anyway, so
I'm
called
with you,
him out.
Mr. Ballard.
Well, wait. So he doesn't like NASCAR, but they're calling this a demolition derby. What do you want?
he liked the racing in the Xfinity race, and he really liked the fact that Daytona was great.
Because they all wrecked.
I mean, he didn't fall asleep this time around, so it was a pretty good
Really,
show.
with all those cleanups.
Yeah, go figure. But I don't know, Tim. To answer your question, some of them did, some of them didn't. I forget who actually did, because I'm an awful host. But at the end of the day, if there is a common denominator, I mean, we see it at Wall. It's tough to not ignore stuff like that.
I don't know, Tim. Who do you put the blame on? I mean, do you think that was
Well,
racing?
Tim said he didn't watch the race.
No, I was bragging. Remember, I was at.
Well, yeah,
Riverhead, yeah.
But I mean, if everybody's saying it, do you think that it's true?
If
or do you
everybody's
think-
doing
Well,
it.
that's why I asked. I mean,
Would you jump to?
people on Facebook compared to the driver. That's what I asked what the drivers said. If the common denominator of the drivers saying, it was Ricky Stenhouse, and yeah.
I mean, he was pushing Brad Keselowski with on lap 54. I mean, I don't know. Now that I'm seeing
you look like you're holding yourself back over there.
I am. I'm trying to behave on the RPM podcast.
Let it out, Sam. Let it out.
My attitude is Tim's attitude we talked about on the RPM earlier here. I just want to keep saying it. Is that if you're gonna wreck someone, make it the last lap, not even halfway through the race, not even a third of the way through the race. So he should have lifted? Yeah. Was Ricky Stenhouse's eyes a little too big for his mouth? Probably, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's plate racing. That's the product of it.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was Kurt Busch, unsurprisingly.
Right.
Unsurprisingly said, thank you to everybody at Stewart Haas Racing. Car was fast. Sucks we got caught up in the Stenhouse Demolition Derby. But it's a product of him being 17th in points and racing for every point.
You can't knock the guy for racing.
If Kyle's brother said it, then
Well, we all know how very vocal those two can be.
Yeah.
But then again, like to the point of that is that, the way the point system is set up now, here is a guy that's 17th in points.
Right.
But if he can win the race, then he's in the chase. You know what I'm saying? So you have to run that hard.
Right.
It's a product of what we've got going on right now.
I mean,
Not on lap 5, though.
right? No, yeah. There's a clear difference, and I think that's what we can all agree here on the RPM podcast. That we'll agree that Ricky Stenhouse maybe should have waited to wreck everybody to the last lap.
I'm not a big fan of his, but I don't think it was.
He has to feel like crap. I mean, he
got a security escort out of the track.
millions of dollars
Really?
in damages.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, really, because
Protecting him from fans, drivers, or both?
I think both.
Okay, that's pretty
Both.
badass. That's
Ryan-
pretty cool to put on a resume.
Ryan Newman's mom.
That's some evil Knievel stuff
I
right
was
there.
going to
Samantha
say
Bush.
that was like Evil Knievel back in the day.
really?
So, anyway,
Wait, did Newman flip?
No.
Wow,
He did not.
amazing.
Yeah. Can you believe it?
Absolutely amazing.
It's pretty sick.
Was
It
there?
was just cool. This is literally, there's no value here at all. I'm just gonna say it anyway. It was just cool, like seeing Harvick and Boyer walking away like after the wreck. Like, don't you just want to be see what they were saying? They were definitely trashing probably
Wow,
Stenhouse.
there is something wrong with you.
That was cool. It
hey,
was cool.
he is talking during not the F1 segment.
Yeah, man, you gotta give me credit
So
for that.
you don't have to fast forward to hear Nick Rendo talk.
Actually, there's something
But you
about
still
these
should, though.
cars that seem to rear its head that I saw anyway, and this should get Nick's attention.
Uh-oh.
You think?
Yeah, I do
All right,
think so.
let's
I think it was Menard was spinning through the grass.
Yes, and the car was destroyed.
Yeah, it was destroyed. But did you notice the giant saggy rear on that thing?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, it's got
Oh,
a
you
big
got
old
my attention.
big old Kardashian boxy rear on it. I thought this would be up your alley.
That's actually, for all my speeders out there, that's actually how you know when it's an unmarked police vehicle, because they kind of squat. If you see like an unmarked
Yeah.
SUV in the back, they kind of squat down more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
It's all,
performance.
it's all the donuts.
I'm
in the
feeling
back.
uncomfortable.
Tim,
lower center of
Please
gravity.
help me, Tim.
Yeah,
Right, Tim Magic?
in the famous words of our producer here, what did Redneck Jesus have to say about it? Up in the press box or whatever.
Slide job.
Did he?
Slide job.
Did he stick up for the 17? Did he say okay he wrecked him?
I don't really remember
because
watching.
that's the NASCAR god
'Cause-
talking. So you
Yeah,
know.
Right, of
I
course.
watched the race with about 70 laps to go. I had it on MRN through the app.
My ears are still ringing from that slide job yell like a week before. I
Yeah.
really didn't hear him comment.
To be fair, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a pretty. I think he's a grade A, and he still is one of the top plate racers
Oh yeah, I mean
in
yeah.
present day racing. I'd put him next to Brad Keselowski.
That's what I'm saying. What did he have to
Right.
say?
I don't. I in all honesty, I didn't watch the race. I was at Wall when all that crap was going on.
He's bragging. Play that clip.
yeah.
I was out.
I
was
don't
at
have
Wall.
I'm on the wrong.
So anyway, you missed it, Josh.
all right. So anyway, Larson blew a tire. He got into Stenhouse, and the crowd cheered. I will say that
Yeah, but
they cheered because Stenhouse was out.
right.
It was like it was fun for me there
It's
because
like when Earnhardt used to get wrecked for stupid stuff.
for me, it was like when they would do the driver introductions and they take him around the track and you could follow. You knew where Kyle Busch was because of where the boos were.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
anymore though. People like
Not-
Kyle Busch now.
Not now, but
Like
when
Tim's
everybody
daughter.
booed Stenhouse, it kind of reminded me of that. And there's this really cool. Yeah, Nick wants to talk about unity between the drivers walking off.
I just thought it was
that was
cool.
unity between the fans of all hating Stenhouse, and that was kind of fun. Boyer had a really hard hit, but at least Bubba got wrecked too because he's, as far as I'm concerned, he was at fault for that.
I like Bubba.
That's
I'm not against Bubba. I think he caused that though.
That's Alexis's favorite driver.
Bubba
You
Wallace.
like Bubba? Do you like Bubba burgers?
What are those?
They're burgers.
Cheeseburgers.
You never had a Bubba burger?
Yeah,
They're good.
she
The
had-
veggie ones are good.
Oh,
All right, Nick is
Daytona.
muted. All right,
Remember that.
that's enough of Nick.
We don't eat veggie burgers.
I get
in the
muted a
Riggleman
lot
household.
around here.
What about shrimp gumbo? Shrimp Bubba Gump? No? Okay.
I don't know if
You'll watch the movie
You know,
eventually.
Wumboing.
I wumbo, you wumbo.
He, she, me.
Anyway,
Wumbo.
as we move from the burger conversation, some grass-fed quality burgers are made in Iowa. The IndyCar guys, see, I need Tim and Nick's help here. The IndyCar guys are racing in Iowa this weekend.
The infield of dreams.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciated the intro.
Yeah.
I mean, it took over half the show to actually get to the part that the Iowa people were racing, or the Iowa people. God.
Oh boy.
Oof.
There goes our rating with
yeah.
Iowa.
Sam's thinking like, oh, more like the incest field of dreams.
Oof. Hey, what happens in the hayfield or the straw field stays in the straw field.
In the cornfield.
In the
Sam.
cornfield. What stays in the cornfield. Anyway.
Oh, I'm not
All right,
going
now
there.
real quick. This is not. I'm sorry, but
No, you're good.
what had more ratings? You think NASCAR or Travis Pastrana?
Travis Pastrana.
Yeah.
Definitely Travis.
I was actually
Pastrana.
surprised at how few people were in the stands at Daytona.
Me too. And for the Xfinity race, too. It just shows you the lack of...
Xfinity, I expected less, but that was like 20 people, and then the Cup race was like, I don't know, a couple thousand.
I'm a NASCAR. I love NASCAR racing from the top to the bottom, but it is sad that there's just nobody goes anymore. You know, it's.
For sure.
Yeah, do you think they priced themselves out, or do you think that it's just
a prime example of me having 3 children and my wife. Even when we go to Wall Stadium, it's expensive. You know.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it. I mean, you got to pay to park and everything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And camping at Daytona is not cheap, because we have an RV, the Ballards, and we were looking at going there, and it's like $5,000.
Yeah.
Almost 500.
Dragon camp going.
Wow.
It's lovely.
That's for the RV.
The RV's not going into the bragging camp at Daytona.
That's a lot of money to a lot of people.
Right.
You know.
Especially when you can sit on the back stretch of Martinsville with $2,000. I'd rather go there.
That's still.
That's
Yeah,
still,
I'm shutting my mouth.
Oh, and it's still a lot of money, but I'm just saying I think you get more entertainment for your buck at Martinsville. That's all I'm saying. And you get the hot dogs, which Tim has had the hot dogs.
Yeah, there's a big controversy over the hot dog situation.
I spend $2,000 a week in Martinsville on hot dogs.
Oh, boy.
Hey, we don't judge. Anyway, to continue with the racing news, Iowa was an IndyCar.
Hold
IndyCar.
on. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. This Red Bull's wearing off. IndyCar was at Iowa, the Field of Dreams, for the Iowa
Infield
Corn
of Dreams.
with the Infield of Dreams, not the incest Field of Dreams. The Iowa Corn 300. James Hinchcliffe won a hard-fought battle between Joseph Newgarden to win the race. Eric Brennan and Eric Graham both enjoyed the race. I thought
It was better than I think previous
Phoenix.
years,
Yeah.
but it wasn't great. And this package still effed up the Texas race.
I think IndyCar effed themselves when they turned around and decided to not let them race one lap. They were getting ready to
Yes.
go green with 1 lap to go, and IndyCar doesn't do green-white checkers because NASCAR spoiled us.
They did. I said that to you in a message, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got spoiled with NASCAR,
We did.
unfortunately.
And so once the white flag was out, the race was over, and James Hinchcliffe was the winner. He probably would have won the race anyway. However, some of the IndyCar guys who pitted, Joseph Newgarden, and
I thought he was going to have it because he
had a
was
fast race
leading
car.
earlier.
and he pitted when the last.
He's got to be one of the nicest guys.
I would say so.
I think he's got a great personality, and they were also doing a segment pre-race, "What You Cooking," and we know Eric Brennan's going to be only, boiling hot dogs. So
I like dirty water dogs.
I would go for a chili dog,
Okay.
chili cheese dog. Oh, that'd be great.
Sam, what did we go for in Canada?
McDonald's.
We went for some no. Well,
Taylor's
yeah,
ham.
Yeah,
you
actually.
spent $12 for
Do
two
you
hot
get Canadian
dogs.
bacon?
No.
What? Yeah, it's Canada.
Nick Rendo
never
only
mind.
eats pork when it's outside a foreign country because it doesn't count.
Yeah, it's true. It doesn't count. Your body
Tim's
doesn't even
face.
I'm not staying in a hotel room with you in Canada.
Why? There's more for you to eat because he won't touch it.
Tim, I appreciate where you're coming from.
If pork roll doesn't count, I can only imagine else what doesn't count over there.
Oh my God. Anyway, gonna try and save the
Italian
show.
sausage.
It's way past that though. It's way past my bedtime. IndyCar said they were going green. They ended up not,
Let me get comfortable for this one.
and it ended up screwing up Robert Wickens and Joseph Newgarden's
Dude, how
day.
badass is Robert Wickens?
Yeah,
Rookie season.
yeah. He was younger than I thought he was. He is younger than I thought he was. I don't know why. The
Cool,
name,
dude.
the name just made me think that he was going to be like in his 40s, like a guy that just
I see it.
You know?
I see it. I see it. Yeah. Who like just came from Australia or something, and he got like.
like
a
yeah, I don't know. I've been racing these cars for a while, so I figured I'd try an IndyCar. Like he had money or something, and like made it in.
I
And,
so see it.
Yeah,
no, he's really cool.
He's 27.
Ugh, I
Really
feel
cool,
old.
dude.
I feel old. Go away.
Anyway, so
Where's Blake Barney?
that was the IndyCar race. The IndyCar race was pretty average, I would say. Eric Brennan is not here to defend himself, so I can say it. I mean, it was no Texas, though it was better than Texas.
Yeah, it was better than Texas because Texas this year sucked because they changed the aero
Correct.
package.
So I think IndyCar's a lot going for it, just not the oval package.
Yeah.
IndyCar's willing to change, just like F1 is looking at changing next year, Nick Rendo.
Anyway, did I have anything else for IndyCar?
Every time we have a good segue.
Yeah, no, you're going to deal with it for a minute. There were a couple exciting moments. One thing that bothered me, and we're talking about the
Oh, I'm glad we're talking about this.
yeah.
I brought up Deanne Andretti last week on the RPM
Yes,
podcast.
you did. Zach Veach caught fire.
Yes.
I actually spoke to her on Instagram for real. We were like DMing for a little bit.
You weren't DMing Deanne.
Yeah.
DM is like 89.
No, like Mario's wife was really on Instagram. And
Really?
yes. Like when I did the book launch, I swear to God.
She's not like 89, but yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Well, props.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Josh.
It's crazy. I was thinking about that like the day after we did the show too, and I was like, wow, that would have been a cool thing to talk about.
Go ahead, Josh. Save the show.
Oh man, this is rough. So here's the thing: IndyCar does their fueling thing the same. I mean, it's been essentially kind of the same system for many years. They have like a big fuel tank, and it's like this obnoxious hose. I actually am kind of curious if they could switch to more of a NASCAR style fueling, where with a can that plugs in, because NASCAR has seemed to have much fewer fires and fueling issues. It still may happen,
Right.
but it seems like IndyCar is having more fueling issues consistently, and like they just keep like adding more. It's basically like taking like, oh well, this doesn't work now, or this is and they just add a new gadget to their fueling probe. We're going to have a solenoid that shuts this off whenever. Like no. Let's go back to simple. And
Keep it simple, stupid.
yeah, exactly. And I think they're shooting themselves in the foot there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's kind of a gravity system, so it's like whatever's in the hose. I don't know.
I mean, we're all going to go electric in a few years anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Why do they squirt the water on it when they're done?
To avoid what happened,
Yeah.
fire.
There wasn't enough water.
Yeah,
I think avoid like any splatter getting on the header pipe, the exhaust pipe, or anything like that, and just erupting in flames.
yeah. So as they drive away, if they spray it with water, they literally are watering
So
it
it's
down.
to wash it off.
Yeah,
Of the body.
yeah.
Because weren't we all taught in school in science class you're not supposed to put water on grease fire because it spreads it?
True,
Wouldn't
but
it
baking
spread
soda is really expensive. Just throwing it around.
Hey, maybe it's not like a water. Like we're thinking, maybe it's like some kind of fire.
Watered down
extinguisher
baking soda?
material type
Looks
thing.
like crack cocaine in the pits of the IndyCar series.
They're throwing powder, so it gets stuck on his visor, and he has to use another tear off.
Hey, I'm not going to say that.
No.
Yeah.
It's my linguine.
Yeah. Meatballs. Have some baking soda. I
man.
can't be Italian.
All right, so moving on from that, I think they need. Long story short, IndyCar needs to work on their fueling
Okay.
thing. They can go the F1 route and fill the whole car with fuel, but I don't think that's a good idea.
We'll segue from that.
I don't think
yeah.
it would
IndyCar
work
to F1.
around
anyway.
an oval.
So, my biggest problem was they were getting loose.
Right.
It didn't even look loose.
Right.
It was like a little twitch. It's
They're twitching.
yeah.
Dale Jr. announced it.
But it's a problem. Like,
You're an idiot.
when you watch somebody get
wake
sideways, you want to
myself
see him
up.
get sideways. You want to see some tire smoke, essentially
Josh,
drifting
this
to
is not
save it.
stock car racing.
I know it's not, but it's just little.
They don't have fenders.
Like, oh my god, he's so loose, and it's like this little.
It's intense though.
I know it's intense driving
Yeah.
it, but the problem is there's
There's not even enough time to think. I mean, that's all.
exactly, and that's
just
frustrating.
So
It doesn't.
what you're
incredible.
saying is it's intense in the cockpit.
Yeah.
But as this fan in the stands,
boring.
It doesn't
or the
translate-
TV, yeah, it doesn't translate.
You can't relate. My Honda Accord doesn't get loose like that.
I agree. For the casual fan, you probably
Rex
can't
does.
relate. But you know what?
They did say there was a slide job going on, and speaking of Sam's ex, and They actually several times said slide job, and they're like, "Oh, is that your Dale Jr. reference?" And Dale Jr.
ex-girlfriend.
Redneck Jesus actually tweeted
Like 5 minutes later.
to the Indycar.
5 minutes later, commercial later, they're like, "Oh, guess who's listening?" No crap, NBCSN. Go figure. Dale Jr. would be watching the NBCSN coverage of the IndyCar race on Sunday on his day off. Made me a little upset.
Yeah, the whole race was corny. And I didn't know that IndyCar was sponsored by Sunoco.
Corny. I like that.
Yeah,
because
you
they were in Corn, Iowa. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Sunoco,
really? I didn't know. Because you can't tell if it's a Chevy or what, Toyota or whoever.
It's plastered.
Well, no, I didn't know that they were actually fully sponsored by Sunoco for the fuel. That was interesting.
Fueling champions.
And then towards the end, debris caution screwed up the whole end of the race, made it not as exciting. 5 cars finished on the lead lap. I think, almost all
Wasn't
of
it
them
Ed Carpenter who spun? And wasn't it
Carpenter made contact?
Doesn't Ed Carpenter look like a Kevin Magnussen, like plus 20 years?
Oh, I gotta Google that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I thought it was leading up to be like a good, possibly a good, exciting finish. And they kind of took that from us by finishing under caution. What are you doing?
He wants to show me Ed Carpenter as Kevin Magnussen.
Anyway,
continue, guys. You guys got this.
Moving on to F1 now that Nick is distracted, so we don't have to listen to his recap.
We're gonna come back with F1 real quick.
So imagine like a receding hairline kind of thing. Yeah, you see it.
Yes, we do. We're gonna take a quick break here, Josh, on the RPM podcast.
Sad face.
Because I have to go pee.
Okay.
And we'll do that, and we'll come right back with F1, and we'll wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Okay, now don't be mad.
You're listening to the RPM podcast.
It's not good.
I'm angry. I'm really angry. That's the second time I got caught.
Go ahead, Nick. You can bring it in.
Are you angry because you got caught?
Yeah, right.
Does that happen? Does she know? Did she have an idea before?
It's a whopping 7 seconds.
Did you whomp it?
Womping.
It's a drag racing term.
You'll whomp the throttle.
Whomp it.
Whomp it.
Boom. Yeah.
Whomp it.
Bring
Twist
me in,
it.
Sam. They all want to
Everybody,
hear you.
welcome back for the final break here on the RPM podcast. We peed. We're all good to go. Josh Matthews.
I didn't have to pee.
Thank you, R.
welcome.
Kelly.
Welcome
Nick Rendo, I got the Rigglemans here with us.
Oh, my God.
To this VIP edition of the RPM
So, Nick,
podcast.
where was F1 racing this week?
Silverstone.
Were they racing again? I feel like they've been racing every week
Yeah,
the last
it was
3
the
weeks.
third leg in the triple header, so the third race in 3 weeks.
I think if... Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Silverstone's...
Did it rain?
It did not rain.
I can't believe that.
In Silverstone? It usually doesn't rain. It was actually an extremely hot race. I think the track surface was at like 120, 130 degrees. Crazy temperature.
You could fry an egg on that.
Yeah, you could.
Peanut oil wouldn't burn.
True. It's
What
not
about
hot enough.
cashew oil?
It's not a walk.
I don't know about cashew oil.
Is that even a thing? Cashew oil is a thing?
Where's Scott? I need Scott.
That was disgusting. So Silverstone's about, one of the top 3 races of the year, so it's a pretty big deal for F1. It's especially a big deal for Lewis Hamilton. As we're here talking about ratings, we're also fixated on ratings here. There was 350,000 people in attendance. 350,000. That's an insane number.
Was Patrick Stewart
Somebody
there?
should look up how many people watched that on TV. Was Patrick Stewart there? Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't see him on camera, though.
Didn't
so
he
I
do a
can't say
shoey
that.
there last year?
That was Canada. That was before
Canada.
my
I'm sorry.
eyes, actually. My little brother was so
Wait,
stoked.
you saw Patrick Stewart do the shoey?
Yes.
I hate you. I hate you.
Yeah, it was a good time. Look through my camera roll. I'll show you later. It was pretty badass.
No,
but,
no.
I want to go home
Just
tonight,
no.
so we're not going to look through your camera
We're
roll.
going to get right into this. Ah, shit, it would be entertaining, let me tell you that. We'll put that on.
Gimpy eyes.
What is it? What they have to pay for? To view our
Patreon.
VIP
That'll be another
members?
night on
That'll be a
Patreon.
Patreon.
Big L. We're going to
Access
stick
to
it in
Nick's
there
phone.
on the inside of Riggleman.
So during qualifying, so Lewis Hamilton ends up getting the pole by about, I think it was like 400ths, and I think that was pretty much down to the energy that the fans were giving him, because it seemed like, Ferrari had a more stable car. It seemed like Ferrari's car.
Wait. Can we go over the start?
Yeah, I'm not there yet, but sure. Lewis got the pole. Seb is going to start second, so they're
nobody
both
cares about qualifying.
on the front row.
Qualifying
And
means nothing.
The start of the race is so vital in Formula One, as you know. And Lewis just got like a bad start for some reason. I don't know if it's that he spun the tires, if the clutch bite point.
I think he was checking his face in the mirror.
Wasn't right. I really don't know what happened, but he was really.
I gotta get to the club later.
He was really sleeping at the start, and Sebastian got a amazing start actually, and led the field to turn 1. And even Bottas ended up getting second on Lewis, and this is about, the point that everyone's talking about. Kimi Räikkönen ended up trying to go for third, trying to pass Hamilton on the inside. Kimi had a slight tire lockup. Lewis kind of squeezed him down, but not too much.
How it's slight.
Definitely left him room, and Kimi
his fault.
ended up plowing into the side of Lewis. Lewis was completely off the track. It was pretty wild. That's definitely going to be in What Did You Learn Today? I could just tell.
Kimi plows.
So Lewis ends up going back to dead last. Kimi ended up not having a lot of damage. He got to keep
Why
going.
did he go back to dead last?
Because
Stop.
I'm not even going to say it again.
Why?
So it was pretty much
She was actually being serious.
because Kimi had the tire lock up and ended up crashing into the side of Lewis.
Why did that put him in the rear?
What?
Because he
are
got wrecked.
you saying?
No.
Can I stick my hands on the controls and
No, I'm
mute
trying to get you to say that he had a 10-second penalty. You did.
We're not there yet. It didn't happen yet.
Then how did he go to the rear?
Sit back, Josh. Make
He
some
didn't go
popcorn
all the
and
way to the
relax.
back.
He did. So Lewis.
I don't want this to be the Rendo recap. I want him to be engaged in this.
Kimi Räikkönen got a 10-second penalty for the hit on Lewis, and it was ironic because Sebastian 2 weeks ago got a 5-second penalty for hitting Bottas. So the Ferraris hit the Mercedes 2 races on the 3-leg stretch. So Hamilton goes back to last. The entire crowd is obviously freaking out. Literally their star, 350,000 people came out to see this man win from pole, and now he's dead last.
You made it sound like Kimi went to the rear.
After the stop.
You meant it was Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton went to the rear, yes.
Yeah. No, I
so
saw that, but that's
Hamilton
why,
made an amazing comeback, started
that's
slicing through the
why
field. I
didn't know
think
where you were
by
going
like
with that.
lap 10, he was already up to maybe like 6th, 7th. I don't know, really, really far up. Sebastian was pretty much driving away with the race. Yeah.
So you're saying Lewis is already making his way back up?
By like lap 10, he was already like
he was very
well
quick.
into the points.
Meanwhile, the entire time he is whining and whining, like Kyle Busch whining. I like Kyle Busch, but whining about his car. Oh, the rear's off. Something's not
he got
right.
punted pretty
Meanwhile,
hard.
he's flying past, running like top lap times.
Yeah.
And like, ooh, it's not right. I'm Lewis Hamilton. I'm not in the lead.
It had to be extremely gutting when that happened to him, I can imagine.
I know, it sucks. I get being frustrated, but why do you have to whine? Like, work at it. You have, like, one of the fastest cars. And going by the results, I'm not going to jump ahead too far here, all right? I'm going to say, if you look at the results, where he finished, how fast his car was, for him to be whining, complaining that something was wrong, that's kind of like, I don't know.
Jimmy Johnson.
It's
worse.
an extremely frustrating thing, but he was
Frustrating,
slicing through
yes.
the field.
I get being
If no
frustrated.
one listened to his radio, you would not think there was anything wrong with that car at all. Maybe
There
you would
was nothing
maybe
wrong
you would
with the
think
car.
Raikkonen actually bumped some, Cameron
They
Kessler
finally
in
said
the right
over-
direction for Lewis Hamilton.
They
So-
finally said over the radio, we think it's all in your head. Like, or I'm paraphrasing, but they actually suggested it might be in your head now that something's wrong. Because it was.
Well, very interesting. So the race was
He
still,
did not end up where he did
still
with a broken car.
Pretty exciting, but I would say it remains in a train. Probably what kept it exciting was watching Lewis slice through the field like a maniac, like a savage. But with 15 laps to go, there was a really unusual safety car. Marcus Ericsson running completely alone in the Alfa Romeo. Sauber ended up pretty much dumping it in turn 1 and just flying straight into the wall.
Womping and dumping.
So during the
Was it a dump or a
safety
dump?
car, this is where the strategy came in. Sebastian
ignores me.
Vettel pitted from the lead. Kimi Räikkönen pitted. Both Red Bulls pitted, including Lewis Hamilton. Pretty much everybody pitted except for Valtteri Bottas. Bottas inherited Mercedes pretty much.
Was that a good idea or bad?
Yeah, at the time, it seemed like a pretty good idea because track position is very
What
important.
would you have done?
Track position is very important in Formula One, and I think I would have made Mercedes' strategy. I thought it was a really good call. I really thought that Ferrari lost the race there. I'm going to be completely honest. So that was very, very interesting. The safety car was out for like 6 laps, and the whole time seeing the laps, count down. I'm like, Vettel's not going to have enough time.
Why a real safety car, not a virtual safety car?
I think he was just so in the wall and it was a very fast corner. And actually, a few laps later, we saw people go off there again. So,
but I mean, I'm
probably
still
the right call.
kind of confused as to the whole. I mean, if they have to slow down to that same speed, essentially,
Yeah, I know. Hey, man, I don't make the rules. But the safety car was out for an
Rolls it off.
unusually long time.
The Rendo recap.
So I thought, the laps were running out for Seb to actually make the move because really Sebastian wouldn't be able to make the move for at least 3 laps under green racing to get the DRS because really...
Now, wait, did Ferrari pitted on that?
Everybody pitted except for Bottas.
Except for Bottas.
Bottas is leading the lead on, old tires.
You got a little nervous.
I was, for sure.
And he went on to the softs, right?
Vettel went onto the softs.
Okay.
Bottas was on old medium, so he was on a worn-out, slower tire. So 2 things going against him. But again, track position really is so much in Formula One, and really, if he would only be able to make the move on the straight, Mercedes still has that horsepower. So
I heard
Bottas
Alexis is going to run the hypersofts next week.
Really?
Yeah.
So Bottas still had a great chance.
So
the race
going to soak the tires.
Daddy doesn't even clean the tires.
So the race goes green.
I'm learning a lot.
Kimi Räikkönen ended up passing both Red Bulls, and not Kimi Räikkönen style. Actually, rather aggressively, very impressive for Kimi Räikkönen for sure. Hamilton at this point is running 3rd, which is very, very impressive. I mean, literally going from dead last.
Still whining that something's wrong with the car.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, going from last to 3rd.
So now we see a really clumsy wreck between
Does
Grosjean.
he freak out if there's
and
like a piece of
Sainz.
lint on his
Grosjean and Sainz in the exact same place that Ericsson ended up crashing. But for some reason, me and Sam were talking about this. A 2-car, multi-car accident. They cleaned this up in a lap and a half or so. The race goes green.
Who was in that accident? It was not
Grosjean,
Hulkenberg.
the Haas, and Carlos
What
Sainz.
accident is
Sainz,
Grosjean
Rendo.
not in?
Grosjean was on
well-
the inside. The car got loose, exactly like what happened in Canada, where Brendan Hartley went up and pretty much...
He had a bad wreck in
Just-
qualifying, didn't he?
He
not?
did, yeah, it was pretty crazy. But, Josh said no one cares about qualifying, so
Alright,
we're
but
going to save
how
that for
different-
Patreon.
Here's the thing. How different was the Grosjean and Sainz incident versus the Kimi and Hamilton? Other than you're dealing with front runners versus mid pack or whatever. Let's spare me that crap.
Yeah. Well, one was a tire lockup, but pretty much I guess both things were caused by the driver on the inside. Just one happened to be at 170 miles an hour. One was more at like 80. So that's the big difference.
But
Like
here's
80
the thing.
miles per hour.
There was no penalty. I mean, was it on Grosjean? Was it because they were both out anyway?
FIA is just not consistent. That's why I made that remark before. You guys were giving NASCAR credit for being consistent, and the FIA could definitely learn from that.
Right.
For sure. For sure. So the second safety car ends. I think we have about 8-7 laps to go or so, and Sebastian ended up running within about 6 to 4 tenths behind Bottas for maybe 5 or 6 laps. And Josh, you know how hard that is in the dirty air. Truly remarkable.
I hate it when it's dirty.
Yeah, very remarkable. But Seb ended up getting the DRS and making a really late dive to the inside and ended up reclaiming the lead. And at that point, Bottas kind of just fell like a rock. Hamilton ends up passing him for 2nd. So now Lewis Hamilton is up to 2nd place, which is crazy.
On the restart, when Bottas had to gain that track position,
okay,
he was out front. He was leading for a while.
Yeah.
And good for him.
It was a good strategy. It really.
Did you notice? Now, I want your opinion on this. I don't want you to just tell me what happened, because I'm going to tell you what happened, and I want your opinion on it. Bottas slowing up, backing everybody up before the restart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, every driver does that.
I was about to say, yeah.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Not as that obvious, but yeah.
Yeah, they do, for sure.
He did it a lot more than any other.
Well, I mean, he knew he was a sitting duck.
A lot of drivers do it a lot, but maybe he did it more because he knew.
Because to me, that made it look almost like a NASCAR style
Yeah,
where they
yeah,
filed
yeah.
up,
Miku
restart, and then I thought it looked a lot
he braked
better.
so much that Seb, I think it caught him out a little bit and didn't want to have an Azerbaijan type incident, so he ended up running to his inside and Lewis vice versa. And you're right, it made it look double file.
Louis!
So that was pretty wild.
But for me, I liked that. I thought that was cool. If you slow them all up, double file them again, and then let them have at it. It's a rolling start.
It's a rolling start, but they're going slow enough to the point where now you're actually battling tire spin, off of the start from the safety car.
Wait,
for
these
sure.
guys don't have traction control?
Not that much. But
that's it. If you're going to have the most elite drivers, that's what they're supposed to be.
That's what they are.
Money plays a factor. Anyway, so you can't deny that. Anyway, so
Gonna have my Red Bull can.
Anyway, they should be able to overcome that. They should be able to deal with that and know how to handle it.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they did. But yeah, for sure.
You have to admit that Bottas was doing that more than we would normally see with
I think
Hamilton.
he was probably also doing that to help Hamilton a little bit. I mean, clearly. But it was pretty wild.
Well, was he on the radio saying 3, 2, 1?
When Hamilton went for the move for second,
The
passing
line.
his teammate who's dropping like a rock, Bottas ended up, trying to cover the inside. Bottas, if you watch it,
it's that team racing.
All right, let's
kind of gave him a run for his money, which was interesting. But Sebastian Vettel ended up crossing the finish finish line in
I was about to
first
say, okay.
and took a lot of criticism because over the radio he said in Italian, yes, we won on their stomping ground, and that did not meet the 350,000 Lewis Hamilton fans there. It wasn't received very well, but what was received even worse was Kimi Räikkönen walking onto the podium, met with an amazing amount of boos for taking out their driver. So that was
He don't care.
That was a pretty interesting
He the
thing.
ice man.
Wait, wait.
care.
Oh, he
So
doesn't care, but-
here's the thing: Hamilton went all the way to the rear and then drove all the way back up to second. And Kimi takes the 10-second penalty, which
Yep.
I mean, we've seen a 5-second penalty for similar incidents before.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a 10-second penalty. He drives his way back up to third.
Yes, correct.
And-
Just had to pass the 2 Red Bulls.
Yeah, so he had to drive his way there. So I don't care. He earned it. All right.
They both
did,
earned it,
Did
absolutely.
he kind of screw Hamilton a little bit? But that was hard
You know
racing.
what, though? Hamilton lost it at the start of the race. Hamilton was not going to repass
he
Sebastian
didn't
Vettel.
have the-
Their race pace is too close. He was not going to repass him. He lost it at the start of the race. Kimi gave him, another hump to jump over, but if anything, it just made the race a lot more interesting for all the fans as opposed to him riding around in second for 60-some-odd laps.
Yes,
So,
I agree.
The way
Now-
it worked out, it made him still look like a hero.
Now, there's a couple of interesting points out of the race now that we're kind of through that.
Yeah.
There were only 17 cars starting on the grid. They had the Williams starting
Yeah, I think it
from
was about
in the
3
pits.
cars. And if you watch his onboard, I believe Sergio Perez in the Force India was just
What-
sliding across.
He slides across,
Yeah.
and they were. I
Pit-
remember the
pit
commentators
exit.
were saying they were surprised that they let the Williams go as early as they did from the pit lane.
Interesting.
But Perez slid right across in
Yeah.
front of them. He almost wrecked the cars that were starting from the pits, which is amazing. There was something about replacing floor pans and some weird. I don't know. It was.
On, I think, Hartley's car or something because he wasn't like.
Yeah,
starting the
and
race.
Hartley did not make the start. They got his car almost they were 30 seconds too late. It sucks for them, but whatever. That moves on. 14 cars finished the race, so that's about on par with NASCAR for
14
the
cars
weekend.
finished the race. We would have actually saw Charles Leclerc for the 3rd race in a row, finishing the points. I believe he was running 7th. Once again, battling with huge names, Hulkenberg, Alonso.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, went in for the pit stop, and they didn't exactly get the wheel on straight, so he had to retire the car.
Yes.
But it doesn't take anything away from Charles Leclerc
But
at
we
all.
saw that happen with Haas. It was the first or second race of the season where they had
Yes.
issues with getting the lug nuts. Well, I call them the wheel nuts on.
Yes, in Australia.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. You're trying to do this all in NASCAR as fast as that is, which is lightning fast. But you're looking at, let's say, 12 seconds. Here you're looking at 2.5 seconds to get all 4 wheels done. I mean, it's insane.
The record is 1.9. It's mind-boggling. Can't even wrap your mind around it.
By
Crazy.
Williams, right?
I think Red Bull.
Now,
Could be Red Bull.
additionally, after the whole Hamilton thing,
Yeah.
the announcers even said, because basically Hamilton sounded like he was ready to just retire. He was done. He was like, all right, I'm
Looked
out of
like
this
that.
race.
It looked like that seeing him sideways.
And the problem is, so many times you see that happen in
Actually,
F1.
we forgot to mention Max ended up retiring too. I believe he
Yes.
had a spin
He had a hell of a race. I mean, he made a couple passes on the outside.
of Kimi.
Just-
Kimi actually passed him. He retook him on the outside.
Yeah, it was
which
back and forth. I mean,
I
that was
wasn't happy about, but it was impressive.
it was exciting.
Our
Very
listeners,
impressive.
he finished 15th.
Very impressive. But I
But-
believe he actually ended up destroying his gearbox. I think with the way he spun, something happened with the gearbox. He ended
It
up
got
retiring
stuck in
right
fourth.
after that.
He could
and
not
that might
get
have
out
been
of
why
fourth.
he spun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think he overdrove it, and then it got stuck in fourth during the spin, and that's why he couldn't continue.
Okay. Sounds like
Kevin Magnussen scored some points for Haas, 9th.
It's coming, Nick. I'm telling you, it's coming.
Cricket.
I
Get
don't have
ready.
anything against Haas. I think they're the best of the rest.
Fernando Alonso, 8th.
Yeah,
Bah.
pretty good for Fernando too.
Bah.
He'll actually be back at Silverstone racing in the World Endurance Championship, the points championship that he's leading.
There was one comment from the announcers that I liked. It said, with Hamilton basically already whining and wanting to quit, they said, "Oh, look,
I don't think he wanted to quit. Lewis
he
Hamilton
did.
has
No.
a non-quitting spirit. Lewis Hamilton,
I disagree on this.
I think when he was sideways, he
I
still
think
thought he could win
was
the
done.
race.
I think he thought he was done, and he was like, "Oh no, it's all messed up," and he's going to pull in. He wanted to. And
my ball and going
the
home.
team's saying, "All right, we're looking at it. Just keep going, go as hard as you can, and all that." And the announcer's like, "Look, you got to go as fast as you can to try to limit the damage to your points right
yeah,
now."
it's a damage
And he
control
did.
race.
And he did.
And he limited it
but-
100%. We couldn't have asked for anything more.
No, I agree. And he did a great job.
Are you
of it.
Mercedes now? You're Mercedes and Red
No,
Bull?
no, he has a hard on for Lewis Hamilton. That's all it is.
I like Lewis. Lewis is a cool dude.
He wants to go clubbing with Lewis. But the thing is, they even said it's time to run what you brung here because you don't have another option. And he did it. And
Drive, Lewis, drive.
Oh, God.
I mean, the safety car did. I'm not trying to take anything away from
It
the
did
safety
help.
car. Did help him getting up to second. Without the safety car, probably would have finished, fourth or fifth. He definitely
I could
wouldn't
have seen him being podium anyway. But I found that really interesting. But my biggest problem was post-race. And some people were saying, well, it's just because he's passionate. No. After the race, Hamilton was a dick to go up and run and hide. And, no. You went from last to second after all that, and you can't be bothered with an interview?
Say something, fool.
Yeah.
I
Thank
pity
you.
a fool.
Well,
No. You can't defend this. No.
I think he
Shoot
should.
him.
No.
I think he.
No.
I think he should have been in Park for May. I think he should have been there. Everybody came there to see him.
Yeah.
I do like that they waited to interview him on the podium. I think that was better. More people could see that. In Park for
I
May.
don't care if more people. You're
can't
going
see
to do
the
an
driver.
interview with him on both.
Yeah, you could have did both. I think it was cool the way they did on the podium.
I think he
But
was
I think he
being.
should have been present in Park for May.
Yeah, he was being a
Congratulating Seb.
D-bag by walking off.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I'm a crybaby. I didn't win. Oh, dear God. You came in second after going to last. Oh,
If you
crybaby.
ain't first, you're last. Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
He lost the start himself at the start of the race, and I think that Raikkonen hitting him was kind of a way for him to say, that was the reason I lost. But really, at the end of the day, I think it was the clutch bite point, tire spin at the start of the race. That was really it. But all in all, I think it's mutually agreed that it was one of the top races of the season, if not the best race of the season. I don't want to take away from it.
It wasn't bad. It was a pretty good race.
Races in, and there's 8 points separating the championship. Truly remarkable.
It's
we
a
have
good race. It's
Two
a good
more
points
races.
battle.
We're going to now Sebastian Vettel's home race. So will Lewis try and get one back at him in
Where are
front
we
of
going?
his home crowd, Hockenheim in Germany. Very famous track.
Bless you.
One of my favorite tracks. After that, we're going to Hungary, where Red Bull's expected to be pretty good. Ferrari's pretty good there as well. And then we're going to go into the summer break. So all in all, this season is ramping up quickly.
To go down quickly for a few weeks and then
That's
come
right.
back up.
So, I think it wraps it all up.
Tim,
so.
any comments? No? Okay. Alexis?
No.
No? You
She
sure?
wants to go home.
She's like, yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah, so am I.
Get me out of this weird porch.
I think that wraps it up. Nick Rendo, thank you, sir, for bringing us the Rendo recap only here on the RPM podcast. Appreciate it.
Sick.
Don't forget to check out Think Wins Coach.
Champions Mindset Manifesto.
Yeah,
The
that
Champions
that
Mindset
thing.
Manifesto.
Yeah.
Amazing book.
Think Wins Coach.
I love
had
that
it
book,
right. I
man.
had
Whoever
it right.
wrote that book is a genius.
Yeah, he is. He's sexy
Really,
too.
really good stuff.
I have a
I'll tell
copy.
you.
I know you do.
Do you have an autograph copy?
I do. I
Okay.
do. It's not in gold
Pretty
Sharpie,
badass.
though.
No,
Gold
you-
Sharpie.
Yeah, that's.
Not
All right.
yet, not yet,
On
Liz.
that note, what have we learned today? I'm going to throw it back to my backseat driver, Tim.
I definitely learned that our buddy Nick over here likes to likes meat in Canada. And I'm not staying with you in Canada, buddy. I'm just
What does it
What did I
say?
eat in the hotel room? A whole bag of Smart Pop.
Oh, Smart Pop.
Where you at, man? Smart Pop, so good.
Apparently, I wasn't in the hotel room.
Love Smart Pop.
Oh dear. Anything else, Tim?
oh, that's good.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Alexis, what did you learn today?
It's a lot more weird on the show from watching. And it's a lot easier because I don't know if you're going to ask me questions or not.
Oh, you know.
I
You know.
should've
I'm
rehearsed
going
this.
to ask you questions next week, even though you won't be on the show. And we'll do it like Dora the Explorer, where we're like, so Alexis, do you see Swiper? Really? Where's Swiper? And I'll just like pause for like 10 seconds. And then you'll have to like point.
I got the pauses down pretty good here. Cricket.
Nick, what did you learn today?
I learned that Dale Jr. watches IndyCar on NBC SN.
That's it?
Yeah.
Fly job.
Side job.
Eh.
All right. Sam, what did you learn?
I learned that Josh rents wings. I learned that Buddy slowed down.
I
learned
love that.
That Tim sits on the corners. I learned that Cole doesn't podcast naked. I learned that it's just the poultry. Once it's out, it's out.
It's out.
I learned that we should pave Daytona National Speedway's grass and paint it green. I said paint it grass. Paint the grass color green. I learned that Menard has a squatty ass.
He does.
I learned that Bubba veggie burgers are good.
They are good.
No, they're not.
Nick gets muted a lot.
Yeah.
Tim likes it from the top to the bottom. My ex twitches. Womping is a thing. Dumping, however, is not. I got dumped. Daddy doesn't clean the tires. And that lines are meant to be crossed here in the RPM podcast. And if
Some
you're
lines.
Justin Haley.
Some lines.
You like that? It's kind of summed it all up on the RPM podcast. Go ahead.
On that note, today I learned that Ronnie can't get away with beating Cole at home. I learned that Nick wants to do the show naked.
I do.
Nick almost got...
We're going to save that for Patreon, though.
Not tonight, we're not.
That ain't
Oh,
cheap.
please, no. There's kids here. Nick almost got whacked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wrecks in this room.
I can't. I have people I care about listening to this.
I learned that pork roll doesn't count. Kimmy enjoys plowing.
Not womping.
She drove a hovercraft this weekend.
Oh, my God.
Just like the Grand Tour.
I learned that Kimmy was hitting on Lewis,
Yeah.
as per Nick.
Yeah.
And I learned that Nick likes watching trains.
Would that be a hate crime?
Well, no, he gets off because the Baltic states are a minority.
Nick. Are you done, Josh, before we get...
Oh,
Flag.
oh, wait, no. Oh, God, where is this going?
Are you good?
We're getting
Abort,
weird.
abort. Go.
Okay.
Hey, where can they find us, Sam?
Well, you can find us on Facebook facebook.com/Racing Podcast NJ. Check us out on Twitter, the RPM Podcast _. Check us out on Instagram, the RPM Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Check out our
iTunes.
sick thumbnails on Instagram.
Our thumbnails, please click on them. I think that's
Just
about it.
thumb through them.
We're not on SoundCloud anymore because SoundCloud sucks.
Yep. Patreon.
Check us out on Patreon /
I have more
podcast.
stuff to upload. I'm just really
We have
lazy.
a lot of cool uploads coming
Where
up.
are we on these shirts? Because I know we have shirts to give out or send out.
I'm mailing Ross out his shirt.
Royce
out tomorrow.
Oh, you're waiting till now.
No, I had an issue with the first shirt.
Yeah.
He's on my email list.
We have a lot of people on our email list. I don't know what we're going to do with those email lists. Hey, maybe we'll have Hillary Clinton on our email. You never know. So, with that...
We did meet her.
Nick Rendo, Josh Matthews, Tim and Alexis
really did.
Riggleman. Sam Valley Jr., unfortunately. Thank you for listening to the 105th episode of the RPM podcast.
We have Alexis,
Tim,
and Cole. And
Cole. Thank you for Cole.
I wanted to
Coleslaw.
ask him what it was like beating Rowdy, but I was too busy with coleslaw jokes.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Maybe
me.
you'll graduate from the 3rd grade one day.
No.
But in order for you to find out, you have to tune in for episode 106. So, have a good night, everybody. Thanks for listening. # the RPM podcast. We'll see you on the other side.
Go to Wall.